In the last episode, humanity had finally emerged victorious from the ashes of exile, rising to become the dominant force in the galaxy. The once underestimated species, armed with cutting-edge technology, had outmaneuvered their foes at every turn, and the Galactic Council's desperate attack had been met with a bold and brilliant response. Humanity had proved that being unpredictable and emotional was not a weakness, but a strength. As I stood on the edge of the rebuilt city, the wind whipping my hair into a frenzy, I couldn't help but think of that fateful day when it all began. The day I witnessed the birth of a new era. The sky was a deep crimson, the sun dipping below the horizon like a burning ember. I remembered the sense of excitement, of possibility, that had coursed through my veins as I watched the first shipment of alien goods arrive on Earth. It was a day that would change the course of history forever. I was just a young entrepreneur then, with a dream and a vision. I had no idea that I would one day find myself at the forefront of humanity's resurgence. But as I looked out upon the sprawling metropolis, I knew that it was all worth it. The hard work, the sacrifices, the sleepless nights, it had all led to this moment. I took a deep breath, feeling the weight of my newfound responsibilities settle upon me. I was no longer just a young entrepreneur. I was a leader, a statesman, a symbol of hope for humanity. As I turned to walk back to my office, a figure emerged from the shadows. It was my old friend and ally Zorvath, a member of the Xanthian species. His eyes gleamed with a mixture of excitement and concern. "Aaron," he said, his voice low and urgent, "we've received a transmission from the Outer Rim. Reports are coming in of a strange energy anomaly, unlike anything we've seen before." I felt a thrill of excitement. This could be it, the opportunity we'd been waiting for. The chance to expand our empire, to forge new alliances and secure our place in the galaxy. "Get me more information," I said, my mind racing with the possibilities. "I want to know everything about this anomaly. And assemble a team we're going to investigate." As Zorvath nodded and disappeared into the darkness, I couldn't help but feel a sense of excitement, of anticipation. This was just the beginning. The universe was full of secrets, and I was ready to uncover them all. I walked back to my office, my footsteps echoing through the empty streets. The stars were calling, and I was ready to answer. But little did I know, this was just the beginning of a new chapter in humanity's journey. A chapter filled with challenges, opportunities, and surprises that would test the limits of our strength, our resolve, and our leadership. As I walked through the dimly lit corridors of the Imperial Palace, the soft hum of holographic displays and the murmur of whispered conversations accompanied me. The once familiar halls now seemed imposing, a testament to the weight of responsibility that rested on my shoulders. I entered the strategy room, where Zorvath and a team of experts from various species sat huddled around a holographic projection of the galaxy. The air was thick with tension as they pored over the data, analyzing every detail, every fluctuation in the energy anomaly. "What do we know so far?" I asked, taking my place at the head of the table. Zorvath looked up, his eyes gleaming with intensity. "The anomaly is centered in the Outer Rim near the planet Zeridiaroman 4. Initial scans indicated some kind of energy vortex, unlike anything we've seen before. The readings are off the charts. We're talking catastrophic levels of power." I leaned forward, my heart racing with excitement. This could be the discovery of a lifetime. "What's the source of the anomaly?" Dr. Naja, a brilliant scientist from the Kai Viharn species, spoke up. "We're still working on that, Aaron. But preliminary data suggests it might be connected to an ancient alien artifact hidden beneath the planet's surface." I leaned back in my chair, a plan beginning to form in my mind. Assemble a team of expert scientists, engineers, and security personnel. Well, send them to investigate the anomaly and retrieve the artifact, if possible. The room erupted into a flurry of activity as the team sprang into action, coordinating the mission details and preparing for departure. As I watched them work, a thought nagged at the back of my mind. What if this anomaly wasn't a natural phenomenon? What if it was a message, a warning, or even a trap set by an unknown entity? I pushed the thought aside, focusing on the possibilities. We were on the cusp of a new era, and I was determined to push the boundaries of what was possible. The universe was full of secrets, and I was ready to uncover them, no matter the cost. With a sense of purpose, I turned to Zorvath. Let's get moving. We have an anomaly to explore and a galaxy to shape in our image. The mission was set in motion, and I could feel the fate of humanity hanging in the balance. The stars were calling, and I was ready to answer. But as I walked out of the strategy room, I couldn't shake off the feeling that we were playing with fire, and that the universe was about to unleash a storm, unlike anything we'd ever seen before. The dimly lit corridors of the Imperial Palace seemed to fade into the background as I made my way to the hangar bay, my mind racing with the possibilities of the anomaly and the ancient alien artifact. The air was thick with anticipation as I boarded the shuttle that would take me to the staging area for the mission. As we soared through the skies, the cityscape of New Eden giving way to the open expanse of the Imperial Fleet's hangar, I couldn't help but feel a sense of nostalgia wash over me. It was hard to believe it had been so long since I'd taken that first fateful step, since I'd set out to shape the course of human history. The shuttle landed with a gentle thud, and I disembarked onto the bustling deck of the hangar. The sounds of machinery humming, of engines roaring to life, and of voices shouting orders filled the air as the teams prepared for launch. I made my way through the throng of personnel, nodding to familiar faces and exchanging words of encouragement as I went. At the center of the chaos stood the sleek, silver hull of the Celestial Quest, the state-of-the-art research vessel that would be our ticket to unlocking the secrets of the anomaly. Captain Ortega, a grizzled veteran of the Imperial Fleet, stood at attention as I approached. "Mr. President, all systems are go. The team is assembled and we're ready to depart at your word." I nodded, a sense of pride swelling in my chest. This was the moment of truth. "Very well, Captain. Let's get underway. We have a galaxy to explore and secrets to uncover." With a crisp salute, Captain Ortega turned to his crew, barking orders as the Celestial Quest roared to life. I watched as the vessel lifted off, its engines blazing with a fiery intensity as it pierced the sky and vanished into the depths of space. I stood there for a moment, the echoes of the engines fading into the distance, as I felt the weight of history settling upon me. This was just the beginning, the start of a new era of exploration, of discovery, and of humanity's continued rise to greatness. As I turned to make my way back to the Imperial Palace, a communique flashed on my wrist comms device. I raised it to my ear, my heart skipping a beat as I heard the voice on the other end. "Aaron, we've received a transmission from an unknown source." Zorvath's voice was laced with a hint of urgency. "It's different, unlike anything we've seen before. I think you should see it for yourself." A shiver ran down my spine as I made my way back to the strategy room, the feeling of unease from earlier returning with a vengeance. What secrets lay hidden in the depths of space, waiting to be uncovered? And what would be the cost of unlocking them? I pushed the thoughts aside, my mind focusing on the task at hand as I entered the strategy room once more. The holographic display flickered to life, and I felt my breath catch as I gazed upon the message from the unknown sender. The universe was indeed full of secrets, and I was about to uncover one that would change the course of history forever. The message on the holographic display was cryptic, to say the least. A series of cryptic symbols and hieroglyphs danced across the screen, shimmering with an otherworldly energy. I felt a shiver run down my spine as I gazed upon the transmission, my mind racing to decipher the meaning behind it. Zorvath stepped forward, her eyes fixed intently on the display. "We've tried running it through our encryption programs, but it's like nothing we've seen before. The signal is coming from a small, uncharted planet on the edge of the galaxy." I nodded, my thoughts already racing ahead. "Assemble a team, Zorvath. We need to investigate this further. I want to know who or what is behind this transmission." The Chief of Staff nodded, her expression serious. "It'll get the team together, sir, but we should be cautious. We don't know what kind of technology or threats we might be facing." I nodded, my mind already made up. "Agreed, take every precaution. But we can't ignore this transmission. It could hold the key to unlocking new secrets, new technologies, or something far more sinister." As Zorvath departed to assemble the team, I turned to the holographic display once more. The symbols seemed to pulse with an energy all their own, as if beckoning me towards some unknown truth. I felt a sense of excitement building within me, a sense of adventure and discovery that I hadn't felt in years. The universe was full of secrets, and I was about to uncover one that would change the course of history forever. 20 minutes later, I stood at the edge of the Imperial Palace's hangar, gazing out at the sleek, silver hull of the Celestial Quest's sister ship, the Nova Spire. Zorvath stood beside me, flanked by a team of heavily armed and equipped operatives. "This is the team, sir," she said, her voice crisp and professional. "Led by Captain Arav, the Nova Spire is equipped with the latest in stealth and surveillance technology. They'll be able to get in, gather intel, and get out without being detected." I nodded, my eyes lingering on the ship's hull. "Good. Captain Arav, you have your orders. Get to the bottom of this transmission and bring back any information you can find." Captain Arav saluted, his eyes gleaming with excitement. "Yes, sir. Well, get it done." With a burst of energy, the Nova Spire lifted off, vanishing into the depths of space as I watched. I felt a sense of anticipation building within me, a sense that the universe was about to reveal a secret that would change everything. I turned to Zorvath, my voice low and urgent. "Zorvath, I want continuous updates on the mission. I want to know the moment they find something." She nodded, her eyes locked on mine. "Yes, sir. I'll make it happen." As I turned to leave, a thought occurred to me. I turned back to Zorvath, my expression serious. "Zorvath, one more thing. Get me everything we have on ancient alien civilizations. I want to know if there's any connection between this transmission and the artifact we found." Zorvath's eyes narrowed, her expression thoughtful. "I'll get on it, sir. But what are you thinking?" I smiled, a sense of excitement building within me. "I'm thinking that maybe, just maybe, we're about to uncover a secret that's been hidden for millions of years. A secret that could change the course of human history forever." I walked back to my office, my mind racing with possibilities. The transmission was a mystery, but I had a feeling that it was connected to the artifact we had discovered. I couldn't shake the sense that we were on the cusp of something big, something that would change the course of human history. As I sat down at my desk, my comms unit beeped, signaling an incoming message from Zorvath. I nodded to myself, anticipating an update on the mission. "Sir, we've received a preliminary report from Captain Arav." Zorvath's voice came through the comms unit. "They've entered the planet's atmosphere and are beginning to scan for signs of life or technology." I leaned back in my chair, my eyes fixed on the stars streaming past my window. "Keep me posted, Zorvath. I want to know the moment they find anything." "Will do, sir," she replied, her voice crisp and professional. I turned my attention to the data streaming in on my console, poring over reports on ancient alien civilizations. The more I read, the more I became convinced that the transmission was connected to the artifact. As the hours ticked by, I received periodic updates from Zorvath, each one providing more tantalizing hints about the mission. The Nova Spire had detected strange energy signatures on the planet's surface, and Captain Arav was taking his team in for a closer look. I paced back and forth in front of my window, my anticipation building with each passing minute. What would they find? Was it a trap or a doorway to a new era of discovery? Finally, the comms unit beeped again and Zorvath's voice came through, her tone tight with excitement. "Sir, we have a breakthrough. Captain Arav is requesting a secure channel to report his findings." I nodded, my heart racing with anticipation. "Put him through, Zorvath. I want to hear it direct from the captain." There was a brief pause, and then Captain Arav's voice came through the comms unit, his words barely above a whisper. "Sir, we've found it. We've found the source of the transmission. It's unlike anything I've ever seen." I leaned forward, my eyes locked on the stars. "What is it, Captain? What have you found?" "It's a gateway, sir," Captain Arev replied, his voice still laced with awe. "A massive, ancient structure that's emitting the signal. We're talking kilometers in diameter easily. The energy readings are off the charts. I've never seen anything like it." I felt my breath catch in my throat as I processed the captain's words. A gateway. What kind of civilization could build something on that scale? "What's the status of the planet, Captain?" I asked, trying to keep my excitement in check. "It's different, sir," Captain Arav replied, his hesitation palpable. "The planet's atmosphere is toxic, but we're detecting strange, artificial ley lines crisscrossing the surface. It's as if the entire planet was engineered to support this gateway. We're also picking up anomalous readings from the local flora and fauna. It's like Thayer, awaiting something." I leaned back in my chair, my mind racing with the implications. An ancient, engineered planet awaiting something. This was bigger than I had ever imagined. "Captain, I want you to proceed with caution. We don't know what kind of technology we're dealing with here. Assemble a team to investigate the gateway and report back to me directly. I want to know what we're looking at." "Aye, sir," Captain Arav replied, his tone firm. "I'll assemble the team and get back to you ASAP." I nodded to myself, my eyes still fixed on the stars. This was it. This was the discovery that would change the course of human history. I could feel it in my bones. As I waited for Captain Arav's team to report back, I couldn't help but wonder what other secrets this gateway held. Was it a doorway to another dimension, a portal to a distant galaxy? The possibilities were endless, and I knew that humanity was on the cusp of something truly revolutionary. The hours ticked by, each one feeling like an eternity as I waited for the team's report. Finally, the comms unit beeped again, and Captain Arav's voice came through, his tone laced with a mix of excitement and trepidation. "Sir, we've reached the gateway. It's incredible. The energy readings are spiking and we're detecting a resonance frequency emanating from the structure. I think we're looking at a stable wormhole, sir." I felt a shiver run down my spine as I processed the captain's words. A stable wormhole, this was it. This was the game changer I had been searching for. "Captain, I want you to initiate contact with the wormhole. See if you can establish a connection." There was a pause, and then Captain Arav's voice came through again, his tone hesitant. "Sir, I'm not sure that's a good idea. We don't know what's on the other side." I leaned forward, my voice firm. "Captain, we've come too far to turn back now. We have to know what's on the other side of that wormhole. Initiate contact, Captain. Now." The line went silent and I was left waiting, my heart pounding in my chest. What would we find on the other side of the wormhole? Was it a new ally or a new enemy? Only time would tell. The silence seemed to stretch on forever as I waited for Captain Arav's response. I could feel the weight of history on my shoulders, the pressure to make the right decision. Finally, the comms unit crackled to life and Captain Arav's voice came through, laced with a mix of fear and wonder. "Sir, we've initiated contact. The wormhole is stabilizing, and something's coming through." I leaned forward, my heart racing with anticipation. What would we find on the other side of the wormhole? A new ally, a new enemy, or something entirely different? The silence that followed was oppressive, heavy with tension. I could feel the entire ship holding its breath, waiting for the unknown to emerge. Suddenly, a burst of light illuminated the view screen and I shielded my eyes. When I opened them again, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. A ship, unlike any I had ever seen, was emerging from the wormhole. It was massive, easily dwarfing our own vessels, with hulls that shimmered like iridescent glass. The design was alien, yet somehow familiar. As I watched, transfixed, a figure emerged from the ship's bridge. It was a being unlike any I had ever seen, with skin that shifted between hues of blue and green, like the shadows on a summer night. Its eyes, piercing and ancient, locked onto mine, and I felt a shiver run down my spine. "Greetings, humanity," the being said, its voice like music. "I am Ambassador Zorvath of the Kai-Ren Empire. We have been waiting for you." I felt like I was staring into the abyss, unsure of what lay ahead. But I knew one thing: this was a moment that would change the course of history forever. "Ambassador Zorvath," I replied, trying to keep my voice steady, "it is an honor to meet you. What brings the Kai Ren Empire to our doorstep?" Zorvath's eyes seemed to bore into my very soul as it replied, "We have been watching humanity for some time now. Your resourcefulness, your unpredictability has impressed us. We believe it is time for our empires to forge a new path together." I felt a mix of emotions, excitement and trepidation warring within me. What did the Kai Ren Empire want from us? What secrets lay hidden beneath their polished, alien surface? As I looked out at the stars, I knew that humanity was on the cusp of a new era, one filled with possibility and danger. But I was ready to forge a new path, to take the first steps into the unknown. "Ambassador Zorvath," I said, my voice firm, "I am willing to listen. Let us begin our journey together." The silence that followed my words was palpable, as if the entire galaxy was holding its breath, waiting to see what would come next. Ambassador Zorvath's eyes never left mine, its gaze piercing and intense. For a moment, I felt like I was drowning in their depths, like I was staring into an endless ocean. Then, in a movement that was both fluid and economical, Zorvath inclined its head. "I am pleased, human leader," it said. "Let us proceed to the negotiations. The Kai Ren Empire has much to offer and much to gain." As Zorvath spoke, a contingent of Kai Ren dignitaries emerged from the ship, flanking their ambassador like a phalanx of alien statues. They were as imposing as Zorvath, their skin shimmering with the same iridescent hues, their eyes burning with an ancient, otherworldly intelligence. I felt a shiver run down my spine as I stood, my heart pounding in my chest. I knew that I was staring into the face of the unknown, and that the fate of humanity hung precariously in the balance. "Please, Ambassador," I said, trying to keep my voice steady, "let us proceed to the negotiations. I am eager to hear what the Kai Ren Empire has to offer." Zorvath's eyes seemed to gleam with amusement, as if it knew a secret that I didn't. "Very well, human leader," it said. "Let us begin. But first, I must warn you, the Kai Ren Empire does not make alliances lightly. We expect mutual cooperation." I felt a surge of trepidation, but I pushed it aside, trying to focus on the possibilities. What secrets lay hidden beneath the surface of the Kai Ren Empire? What wonders or terrors would we uncover as we delved deeper into their mysteries? As I nodded, Zorvath gestured to a sleek, silver-skinned vessel that had emerged from the Kai Ren ship. "Please, human leader," it said, "let us proceed to the negotiating chamber. The fate of our empires awaits." I took a deep breath, steeling myself for the unknown. I knew that I was walking into a maelstrom of intrigue and deception, but I was ready. I was ready to forge a new path, to take the first steps into the unknown. As I stepped into the vessel, surrounded by the Kai Ren dignitaries, I felt a sense of history weighing down upon me. I knew that the fate of humanity hung in the balance, and that I was the only one who could tip the scales. The vessel's doors slid shut behind me, enveloping me in a soft, pulsing darkness. I felt like I was being swallowed by the abyss, consumed by the unknown. But I was not afraid. I was ready. I was ready to change the course of history forever. The darkness was absolute, a living, breathing entity that wrapped itself around me like a shroud. I felt a shiver run down my spine as the vessel began to move, its engines humming to life like a chorus of ancient whispers. As we descended into the heart of the Kai Ren ship, I caught glimpses of alien artifacts and cryptic symbols etched into the walls. They seemed to pulse with a power that was both fascinating and terrifying, like a siren's call beckoning me deeper into the unknown. The air was thick with an otherworldly energy, an electric tension that seemed to crackle with anticipation. I could feel the weight of the negotiations bearing down upon me, the fate of humanity suspended precariously in the balance. Suddenly, the darkness parted like a curtain, revealing a chamber that seemed to defy the laws of physics. The walls curved and flowed like a liquid, as if the very fabric of space-time had been warped and twisted to accommodate the Kai Ren's unique biology. At the far end of the chamber, a crescent-shaped table glowed with an ethereal light, casting an eerie glow over the assembled dignitaries. Zorvath took its place at the center, its eyes fixed upon me like a beacon calling me forward. I felt a sense of trepidation as I approached the table, the silence between us growing thicker and more oppressive with each step. But I pushed aside my doubts, drawing upon the confidence and courage that had carried me this far. As I took my place opposite Zorvath, a holographic display flickered to life above the table, casting a kaleidoscope of colors and symbols across the walls. The air seemed to vibrate with the hum of advanced technology, the very essence of the Kai-Ren Empire distilled into this single, breathtaking moment. "The time for petty politics is over, human leader," Zorvath declared, its voice like a cold wind cutting through the silence. "The Kai-Ren Empire proposes an alliance of mutual cooperation, one that will elevate both our empires to unprecedented heights." I felt a surge of excitement, mixed with a healthy dose of skepticism. What secrets lay hidden beneath the surface of the Kai-Ren's offer? What hidden agendas or ulterior motives lurked beneath the ambassador's polished words? As I began to speak, the chamber seemed to shrink, the universe narrowing to a single pinpoint focus. I knew that the fate of humanity hung in the balance and that every word, every gesture would have far-reaching consequences that would echo throughout the galaxy. "I am intrigued, Ambassador," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "But I must admit I am also cautious. The Kai-Ren Empire's reputation is formidable, to say the least." Zorvath's eyes seemed to gleam with amusement, as if it knew a secret that I didn't. "Ah, human leader," it said, "you would be surprised what wonders or terrors lie hidden beneath the surface of our empire. But I assure you our proposal is genuine. We offer you a chance to forge a new destiny, one that will leave the Galactic Council in the dust." I felt a shiver run down my spine as I gazed into the abyss, the unknown depths of the Kai-Ren Empire yawning open like a chasm before me. But I was ready. I was ready to take the leap of faith, to forge a new path that would change the course of history forever. The air seemed to vibrate with anticipation as I paused, weighing the pros and cons of the Kai-Ren's offer. I thought back to the countless struggles humanity had faced, the bitter defeats and hard-won victories that had brought us to this moment. I thought of the countless lives lost, the sacrifices made, and the blood spilled on the altar of progress. But most of all, I thought of the future, a future where humanity was no longer bound by the shackles of the Galactic Council, where we were free to chart our own course, to forge our own destiny. A future where we stood tall, proud, and united, our hearts beating as one. "I accept your proposal, Ambassador," I said finally, my voice firm and resolute. "But I must warn you, humanity is not a species to be underestimated. We are a force to be reckoned with, and we will not be swayed by empty promises or hollow words." Zorvath's eyes seemed to gleam with approval, as if it had expected nothing less from me. "I would expect nothing less from the leader of humanity," it said. "The Kai-Ren Empire respects strength, and we will not tolerate weakness. But let us not waste time on trivialities. The terms of the alliance are as follows." The holographic display above the table flickered to life, spewing forth a torrent of data and statistics that threatened to overwhelm me. I focused, my mind racing as I digested the sheer scope of the proposal. It was ambitious, to say the least, a comprehensive alliance that would encompass trade, technology, and mutual defense. But as I delved deeper into the fine print, I began to sense a hidden agenda lurking beneath the surface. There were loopholes, caveats, and subtle clauses that seemed to favor the Kai-Ren Empire at humanity's expense. I felt a surge of anger, mixed with a healthy dose of caution. I knew that I had to tread carefully, to navigate the treacherous waters of interspecies politics with precision and finesse. "I see," I said slowly, my eyes locked on Zorvath's. "And what of the Kai-Ren Empire's? Ah, unique biotechnology. Would we have access to that as part of the alliance?" Zorvath's expression remained impassive, but I detected a faint flicker of hesitation. Ah, human leader, that is a highly sensitive topic. The Kai Ren Empire's biotechnology is proprietary to say the least, but I assure you we will provide you with access to our cutting-edge technology, tailored to your species-specific needs. I felt a shiver run down my spine as I gazed into the abyss, the unknown depths of the Kai Ren Empire's biotechnology yawning open like a chasm before me. I knew that I had to push further to uncover the secrets that lay hidden beneath the surface. I see, I repeated, my voice firm. And what of the Kai Ren Empire's other allies? Would we be expected to form alliances with them as well? Zorvath's eyes seemed to narrow as if it had anticipated this question. The Kai Ren Empire has arrangements with certain other species, it said carefully. Species that share our vision for the future. But I assure you, human leader, that these alliances will not compromise your sovereignty or autonomy. I felt a growing sense of unease, as if I was being led down a path from which there was no return. But I pushed aside my doubts, focusing on the end game. I will need time to consult with my advisors, Ambassador, I said finally. But I am willing to take the first step. Let us forge a new destiny, one that will change the course of history forever. Zorvath's eyes seemed to gleam with approval, as if it had expected nothing less from me. I will await your response, human leader, it said. But let us not forget, time is of the essence. The fate of humanity hangs in the balance. As the darkness closed in around me once more, I felt a sense of trepidation. I knew that I was walking a tightrope, balancing humanity's future on the blade of uncertainty. But I was ready. I was ready to take the leap of faith, to forge a new path that would change the course of history forever. The words hung in the air like a challenge, echoing through the silence that followed. I rose from my seat, my mind racing with the implications of the alliance, the potential benefits and risks weighing heavily on my shoulders. Zorvath's gaze followed me, its unblinking eyes fixed on me like a predator sizing up its prey. I turned to leave, my footsteps echoing through the sterile silence of the diplomatic chamber. The air seemed to vibrate with tension, the weight of the galaxy's fate hanging precariously in the balance. As I emerged into the bright, artificial sunlight of the space station's corridors, I felt a sense of relief wash over me. The meeting had been intense, the stakes higher than ever before. But I had played the game, navigated the treacherous waters of interspecies politics with precision and finesse. I made my way back to my quarters, my mind racing with the details of the proposal, the hidden agendas and subtle clauses that threatened to undermine humanity's interests. I knew that I had to be cautious, to tread carefully in the maze of alliances and rivalries that sprawled across the galaxy. As I entered my quarters, a soft chime announced the arrival of a message from my chief advisor, Dr. Rachel Kim. I smiled, a sense of familiarity and comfort washing over me. Rachel was one of the few people I trusted implicitly, her genius-level intelligence and razor-sharp instincts guiding me through the complex web of galactic politics. I activated the comms system, Rachel's face appearing on the screen before me. Her eyes were tired, her expression grave, and I knew that something was amiss. "What is it, Rachel?" I asked, my voice firm. "It's the Kai Ren Empire, sir," she replied, her voice laced with concern. "I've been analyzing the data they provided, and I think I've uncovered something troubling." I leaned forward, my heart pounding in my chest. "What is it?" I repeated, my voice urgent. "It appears that the Kai Ren Empire is hiding something, sir," Rachel said, her voice measured. "Their biotechnology. It's not what they claim it to be. There are anomalies, inconsistencies in the data that suggest they're experimenting on sentient species." I felt a cold dread creeping up my spine, the implications of Rachel's words hanging in the air like a specter of doom. Experimentation on sentient species. The very thought sent shivers down my spine. "I think we've been played, sir," Rachel continued, her voice laced with anger. "I think the Kai Ren Empire is using us, manipulating us to further their own agenda." I felt a surge of anger, mixed with a healthy dose of fear. I had been so blinded by the promise of power, so seduced by the allure of the alliance that I had ignored the warning signs. But now, faced with the cold, hard reality of the Kai-Ren Empire's true intentions, I knew that I had to act. "Rachel, gather the council," I said, my voice firm. "We need to reevaluate our stance on the alliance, to consider the implications of partnering with a species that condones experimentation on sentient beings." Rachel nodded, her face grim. "I'll assemble the council, sir. But I think we need to be prepared for the worst. The Kai-Ren Empire will not take kindly to us backing out of the alliance." I felt a sense of trepidation, the weight of the galaxy's fate hanging precariously in the balance. But I knew that I had to act, to stand up for humanity's values and ideals, even if it meant facing the wrath of the Kai-Ren Empire. The die had been cast, the fate of humanity hanging precariously in the balance. I knew that I had to make a choice, to choose between the promise of power and the principles that had guided humanity since its inception. As I stood there, the silence of my quarters echoing around me, I knew that I had to make a stand. For humanity, for its future, and for the principles that had always guided us. I took a deep breath, my mind racing with the implications of Rachel's revelation. The Chiron Empire's true intentions were a ticking time bomb, waiting to unleash a maelstrom of consequences that threatened to destroy everything humanity had worked for. I paced back and forth in my quarters, my footsteps echoing off the cold metal walls. The silence was oppressive, heavy with the weight of responsibility. I had to make a decision, and fast. As I walked, my eyes fell on the holographic display projected on the wall, a 3D representation of the galaxy that seemed to pulse with an otherworldly energy. The stars and planets twinkled like diamonds against the blackness of space, each one a reminder of the countless lives that hung in the balance. I stopped pacing, my gaze fixed on the display. The Chiron Empire's territory was marked in flashing red, a stark reminder of the danger that lurked in the shadows. "I need to know more," I said aloud, the words echoing off the walls. "I need to know what they're hiding and why." I turned to face the comm system, Rachel's face still frozen on the screen. "Rachel, can you dig deeper into the Chiron Empire's data? I need to know what they're hiding and how far this experimentation goes." Rachel's face flickered back to life, her eyes narrowing as she nodded. "I'm on it, sir, but I'll need access to more classified files, and I'll need to bypass their security protocols. It won't be easy, but I can do it." I nodded, a sense of determination hardening within me. "Do whatever it takes, Rachel. I need to know the truth, no matter what it costs." The comm system beeped, signaling that the transmission had ended. I was left alone with my thoughts, the silence of my quarters oppressive and heavy. I knew that I was walking a tightrope, balancing the needs of humanity against the desire for power and influence. But I also knew that I had no choice. I had to stand up for what was right, even if it meant going against the Chiron Empire. As I stood there, lost in thought, a strange sensation crept over me. It was as if the galaxy itself was watching me, waiting to see what I would do next. I shivered, despite the warmth of my quarters. The stakes were higher than ever before, and I knew that the fate of humanity hung precariously in the balance. I took a deep breath, steeling myself for what was to come. I would uncover the truth, no matter what it took. And I would make a stand for humanity, and for the principles that had always guided us. The die had been cast, and the fate of humanity would soon be decided.